Hello and welcome, or welcome back. Today I have actually decided to do something a little bit out of character, and I'm going to go ahead and do a third volume of the Daily Dharma because we just went through and got the collaboration, some collaborators that were coming into the situation, which if it's not for you, some venture that you're bringing friends and colleagues into and looking to vet out who to bring on board or whatnot. It could be in the family or in the workplace or so on. But some of these personalities will ring true, but possibly not all for every person, right? Or, you may take them as all of aspects of your own psyche, vying for control in your own self. Under the deck, I was told to peek. We've got some riled up energy here. And first one popping out is music and then knowledge. So I believe that music and knowledge here are talking about a return of harmonics and awareness. It's the ability to utilize things like that, tones, frequencies, beauty, to heal and to transform and to know how to do this with others. So for some of you, this may have to do with your urge to be a healer on some level, even if it's just through artistry or creation of space, if not from direct healing of ailments. So where I want to begin is one by one. I want to go ahead and get a couple of cards on each one of the individuals that has been depicted. We've got 5 plus what was said to be yourself. And so let's go ahead and also say that the 2 oracle cards, they're really talking about the sacred smoke and the protection, and the severed tongue shown on there. It's like having been through something on purpose to understand the darkness now puts us in a unique position where we have the knowledge and the soul song activation that can go into healing with others. And so these may be individuals that are along for the ride on the healing journey for many of us, or a group that has come together to work through some of these soul trials and so on to be able to get your life more in order. So let's see, what is the toxin that we're really working out in each one of our situations? Let's start there. For the self, what is the toxin that is being worked out? And this, of course, for many of us will be different, this one. The ability to manifest. So you're going to become a huge real-time manifester. You've probably already been able to see the evidence that you've already corrected and brought into reality a lot of your dreams, a lot of opportunities. Like, for instance, some of the silliest things, like if you want to make big changes in your life, often one of the best ways to do that is to focus on small changes. Like, for instance, manifesting the perfect parking spot. You may say to yourself, well, I'm running a little bit more behind than I'd like to. I've got to get in there with my errands and get out, and I'd like to park someplace right near where you put your carts or whatever you call it, a trolley or a buggy, whatever. Yeah, the ducks think that's funny too. So, yeah, so manifesting a good parking spot. I've also done things like when I had my firewood stove in there, and I thought, wouldn't it be nice to have one of those gliding rocking chairs? And wouldn't you know, within just a few days, I found a glider rocking chair along the side of the road for free. And so I grabbed that up. And then I decided I wanted a second one, because what's one rocking chair without somebody to sit in the one next to you? And I manifested that. And so I think that you are learning how to utilize your manifestation to create a nice simplistic life for yourself, and to manifest the simple things, such as even like if you have to have a difficult conversation with a boss, like you just realize that somebody really messed up one of your suppliers, and now you're going to have this shortage, and now you've got to figure out all this other stuff, and so on. It's like before we get to that point, we could say, okay, I'm going to catch them when they're fresh. I'm going to set them up in some type of a way. I'm going to invoke and intend all the way walking to that boss's office, like, all right, this doesn't have to be the end of the world. Or you might even take 2 minutes to say and look into it yourself. If this is, of course, all rhetorical and symbolic, you might go to the lengths of calling a few acceptable suppliers of a similar thing and saying, before you go to your boss, saying, okay, well, I found out that our supplier messed up, which could mess up our stuff, but I went a step further and I found that we could also get overnight delivery from Joe Schmo's shop over here, and it's actually a little bit cheaper. So what ends up seeming like a miss, we're going to have our stuff tomorrow at a cheaper rate, and we may open up the the opportunity for more suppliers in the future, so that we're not dependent on the price point of one. There's more supply, so the prices, you get it. All right, fairy magic. So there's some type of magical work at play, whatever your intuition wants to hit in. It's like sometimes the simplest things we could do or offer, or the most simple hits, like, oh, maybe I'll stop and get a coffee for myself. I'm going with this other person. I'll get an extra coffee and bring that along in case that person would want it. And if they don't, they don't. It's only, I don't know what a coffee is out in the world, but you get the drift. So that's where you're at. You're utilizing your ability to I think, soothe and work with people by utilizing your awareness that everybody likes a little gift. Everybody likes somebody that goes a little extra, and everybody kind of their stomach drops when bad news comes. And so, is it possible that we can sort of brainstorm with that person? Is it our place to or not? I don't know. But I think that that's the type of individual you are: resourceful, aware, intuitive, um, and you bring things together. So let's see the other players here. We have this possibly ungrounded creative type, very into her cosmic identity, and could potentially be involved in a relationship or mentorship with somebody who has their own issues. Um, yeah, okay, so that situation may be coming to a head because we have storm. So they may be arguing, they may be um, seeming like they're not on the same page, but whatever storm is coming through for them, I think is part of a developing thing. Like, you probably saw this coming from a mile away, but this individual had to experience it for themselves in some way to develop a sense of inner truth and awareness. So if that individual, for instance, might be a gaslighter or a gamer or a gambler, something like that, or somebody who plays games with affections, or one foot in, one foot out, creating a facade and then being a little toxic on the backside, or more toxic, or something like that. This individual is developing a lot of awareness, intuition. They're developing their own limitations and divine boundaries, which, if they're ungrounded, boundaries is a great way for them to say, this hurts in my body, this creates um, anxiety and turmoil and drama in my head space, which doesn't feel as good as it used to feel. This individual is coming up with some great soul lessons. Under the deck, return of spirit. Yeah, I'm seeing that. Do you see right above the forehead in this guide's forehead there's that imagery? It to me looks like this. right on the top of that third eye. And so there's something divine, even if toxic, in this situation. So there is a toxic in that environment, but it's working its way through, and spirit is returning to the situation. Anything further for them? Okay. We have assistance. That is fantastic news. So even though you may not be able to assist in the ways that are important for you, perhaps there's some type of isolation between the couple or the individuals here in this soul contract, but you're also being protected in a way, and they are being protected so that they can develop the ability to stand on their own business and not feel that they were bailed out or protected or buffered or falsely influenced, that you won't come through as an interfering party driving a wedge between partners, but they are getting the assistance that you wish that you could be physically through their guidance and through this process. And so the best help that you can perhaps provide at this point is just, as again, as I said earlier, a safe harbor, but also just invoking and manifesting by astral, just saying, please guard and protect and guide this individual as they develop their own sense of anchoring into their physicality more fully, developing those proper boundaries and the awareness that they need to work on the storms here, because this person may, unbeknownst to us perhaps, have this extreme gift which is being activated now through a toxic relationship to provide counseling or some type of therapy work down the line in their future that is going to allow them to assist others through the storms of their life because they've been touched by the toxicity, right? They're developing an immunity to any type of toxicity, and then they're utilizing that to create a platform to assist others out of that. Now, the secondary individual here that shows up with quite an enlightened perspective, happy and nice, might be an energy worker, energy healer, even a manipulator, magician. They don't have to be completely toxic. They could be simply working through elements of their own um, psychology that is something that they can work through on their healing journey. It will depend on your situation, but let's see what the cards want to say about this individual here. First one out, worthy. So they may have self-worth issues. Many of us will probably see some of the thoughts that are coming through here and the insights. Potentially, this individual could have been raised by a narcissist or could have some of those ego urges that have come through feeling insecure and unworthy and um, needing to manipulate in order to have a partnership in their lives. Maybe they think they have to coerce or undervalue to create bondage between partnerships because maybe they're concerned of being neglected or left behind or something else. But if we can also utilize our manifestation abilities to help this individual to connect to their higher guidance and the urge behind the urge, to help them feel personally worthy and disinterested in coercing or manipulating others, but helps them to explore their vulnerability and their personal, true, kind, and genuine authority to author their narrative in a new way where people are connected to them through their own willingness and their own what am I trying to say? One of my friends says that it's like us all choosing to do something versus being forced or being dictated by rules or dogma. So under the deck here, divinity. So there's something here with a divine intervention. And also many of you may be distance Reiki healers or something such as that, where you can envision this individual quite small, vulnerable as a baby, as a child, having these situations that were not their fault happening to them, and you can wish them love, because it doesn't it doesn't hurt to help individuals to get love, but I think that you'll understand the way that it needs to come through based on your situation. Anything last thoughts for that individual? This one. Have faith that things are working out. This individual is not as low vibrational as it may seem. Perhaps they are just really needing a lot of love to get there. Okay, so the third individual here, let's move on to them. They seem to be in some type of inner turmoil, feeling this competitive, oppressed, controlled power dynamics in their life. They may feel like they're in some type of hierarchical type of mindset with other people, both lifting up and idolizing some masculines and then demeaning and undervaluing others based on brute strength or competition frequency. They may demonstrate some of these things in word or attitude or not, but they seem to be very fiery and passionate, but working through some mother-father wounds here. And what does Spirit have to tell us about this individual? Okay, a few cards there. Under the deck we have Phelan. It's quite an interesting card. So they may be quite independent and catty at times. So we've got 4 cards flipping out. They may be quite a powerful individual out in the social realms. They might have already worked their way up in reputation, skill set in some way. They may be a boss or a leader or somebody who always speaks their mind fully and loudly. They may interrupt things like that without realizing it. But this individual has a lot of solar plexus energy that's perhaps a little excessive at this time because they were suppressed, or, fill in the blank. It could be many nuances feeding into this situation. But if you're working with this individual, it might help to encourage them to place their attention into a creative pursuit. Like, instead of any drama or any volatility that they want to talk about, say, well, what kinds of things are you excited to do? Or if you could do anything with your time, what would you do? And ask them to utilize their power towards what would you create? What would you like to see happen? And not what you don't like, but redirecting their attention into their creative aspect. Asking them when they were a kid, with that innocence card, what was it like when you utilized your energy and your creativity? Were you told to stay small? Were you told that you weren't good enough? Were you told that you were weak or vulnerable, or that it's not okay to cry, that you have to, capitalize and step on the toes of others to get what you want? There's some innocence that could be unpacked, and asking them perhaps even to identify how they felt when they were given those messages from people in authority or people that were bigger, stronger, faster than them, and asking them then which side they want to anchor into. Do you want to make others feel that way or not? How could you utilize that creative energy to ground into what actually makes you feel good and supported? How can you stop inviting the people that make you feel all dramatic into your life and start hanging out with individuals that make you, face your creative and your pleasant spots, and utilizing that energy, perhaps like getting into some type of healthy, energetic sporting exchange with people who want to be part of that environment by choice, is helpful for that person to channel that aggressive influence into something that is going to help uh, channel that energy into a pursuit, and then frees up their energies to be calmer in other areas where they need to be more vulnerable and tolerant. Frequency shift, and maybe that person needs to connect with a therapy or somebody who can do that inner child work with them. So there's a frequency shift on the horizon for this individual, and it's going to rejuvenate both your opinions of them, the awareness that they have of themselves, and the impact they have on others as well. It's going to not only shift their awareness between what they've been giving their attention to into something that feels better, but I believe that they're going to start seeing others responding to them in healthier, happier ways, reinforcing the fact that they don't need to compete for airtime or for volume or whatever. Say, your voice will be heard, but right now this person has the floor. We're all interested in the feedback that everybody has. We're all going to get a turn, you know? Yeah, there's some type of limitation, like at an early age, this individual's maturity in their emotional beingness was somewhat truncated or suspended animation, I'm hearing, in time, and they got caught up in something from before. Okay, I'm not sure if those cards belong to that person. We'll just look at them. Recognition under the deck, immunity, and violet flame. Didn't we say immunity already here with the previous individuals? But utilizing our ability to transform and to become aware that we aren't going to be overpowered in this situation any longer. You don't have an oppressive dominating force taking you over anymore. Um, reassuring them and recognizing their energy and asking them to then respectfully acknowledge and recognize the when others have the floor, or to not interrupt, but gently, because this person is combative, right? All right. It looks like overall you are putting some individuals into right order, and I was hearing putting people in their place, which sounds aggressive in itself. But this individual may help put things into right order by use of their own energy. They're learning so much about how to transform that fire into the phoenix that rises from the ashes of their past, and learns how to relearn, how to unprogram, and to become a catalyst for the healthy, emotional, vulnerable development of others, and helps especially those toxic masculine, wounded masculine aspects within all of us to feel heard, recognized, and empowered. This individual has the ability to be an empowerment activator through their oppression. Okay, moving on. That was a big one. So here we have this Empress like energy who perhaps feels a little more sad than she lets on, perhaps more isolated in her natural environment. She may have secluded or withdrawn from society because of feeling either misunderstood or unequal in like the technological world isn't as appealing as going back into nature, and so this individual may be looking for new avenues to come out and creating portals for individuals to be networked and to connect. I think that this individual is going to be very intricately involved in the networking and the um, gathering of this tribe here, and helping you personally, if this is not an aspect of self or one of your primary collaborators here, to create pathways to change, to develop your product or your offering to include and reach more people. Contact is the only one upright here that fell out, but yeah, this individual's in contact with a lot of different networks, a lot of different skill sets, and they're perhaps out of contact with certain aspects of mainstream culture, but they're in direct contact with the voice of God, I would suspect here. This energy of transmutation. Their emotions may fluctuate, and I think that this is also part of that divine energy of being connected so dramatically and empathically to the collective waters. This might also be another reason why they withdraw, because it's hard to be out in public, because they're such a sponge that they have in the past taken on the energies from the outer world. It could really benefit this individual to research how to cleanse and clear their energies between interactions and before going into their own sacred space, so that energy is purged, released, and transformed before going into their sacred space, keeping that energy cleansed and renewed, because they seem to be a place creator as well. So they're good at connecting with other people and helping others to connect to their inner divine wilderness and nature, to their primal instincts and their sensual nature. This individual probably finds beauty in everyone, even those that we would sometimes see as potentially having something quite different about their physical appearance that would be demonized um, or pushed away, rejected in mainstream society. This individual is the great lover and the great mother that loves all her children equally. And that makes me want to cry. If you are somebody that needs that love, this individual is ready to come into the situation now. I mean, literally, I could cry. The next couple of cards, we have confidence, union, and right. My eyes are even red. Okay, so this individual has a lot of confidence, but but perhaps they don't see it that way. Perhaps they haven't had this long-standing confidence, but it had to be birthed because of their ability to learn how to be out in society and then back within themselves, and then a foot in both realms, and witnessing both the humanity and the hurtful natures that can come into being out in the world, as well as the the tender underbelly of humanity and ego and the fragility of human dimension here. So, this individual is helping others to gain the confidence to be unique, to be different, to be the outcasts and the rejects and the divine hermits that are seeking enlightenment through the voice of their own divine energy streams and their own divine mediumship streams, and creating that union between self and self, self and divinity, to reconnect us with the masses. Because what good is all of this great beauty and love if we keep it all to ourselves in our sanctuary and never invite others in? You know, at some point, the hermit does have to take their lantern and go out into the world and spread a little bit of that love and seek for relevance and seek for new proteges that are looking to come into the fold and to learn and to be activated and to carry that energy forth, like gypsy minstrels and travelers. And right, so this individual is also helping individuals to come into contact with their own inner narratives as well as their own divine inner blueprint. This may be an activation within nature between Earth Star Chakra and Soul Star Chakra, coming powerfully into the center, into union within the self, which is helping with all of the both the crystalline, I forget the the earth activation and the solar activations that are happening that rewrites the chemistry, the biochemistry. This person may be quite intuitive on health matters in that way. Under the deck, we have Phelan again for them. Very interesting. So we may even see a bit of divine counterpart energy between the individual that's aggressive here and the empowerment activation coming through them, and the divine love activation coming through over here, and connecting individuals further into their core and their cosmic identity. these two both coming out with feline under the deck can talk about them being divine counterparts, whether or not they're together yet. That's interesting. So this individual with the aggressive nature may just be coming into contact with this other individual because they haven't been in the same energy frequency. Let's get our last individual if we can, get it in under the timer. This highly technologically, scientific-y spiritualist here, reserved, guarded, educated, perhaps comes with a little bit of financial backing. What is their energy? First one coming out, we have the violet flame. They're able to transmute. I do get a little chameleon energy off of them as well. They had to appear a certain way socially. Love under the deck. They had to learn self-love for who they were. Maybe they were somebody who was not very popular in school or something, or was bullied, and so they learned to reserve their nature. Maybe they believed in love as the doctrine of the world and came in contrast with aggressive types that bullied them. Anything else? This person is really learning a lot about the sacred sciences and the application of teaching, learning, connectivity, and so on, and the shifting from lower into higher. All right, what else for this individual? And then we'll close up the reading. Caretaker, very, very beautiful. Caretaker energy in that context is the one who has been bullied, taking care of the underdogs. Fearless. They have become so fearless in their courageous energy here. They've done a lot, and they've taught themselves so much about why people do what they do. They know about psychology and other things. They've connected so many dots in their world. And any last messages for them? This one. Mediumship and vibrational. Very good. So yeah, this person is very in contact with the vibrational context of love in the transmutational energies through vibration, energy, frequency, intuition, and they have a divine voice that they're listening to in their world. So do we leave it there? I think that we're going to leave it there, and yeah, I appreciate all of you guys. I hope you were able to catch all 3 of the daily dharmas today, as it's a developing timeline, and let me know what you thought about this reading. I really enjoyed doing more of the collaborators and the interest in the interconnectivity between this, because I think that these are some people that are going to be coming into our world, if they're not already there, in a big sense, and that we may be really doing some sacred work with each other. So take good care of yourselves, and until next time.